Hey, this is DangerMan. Welcome to another showcase game where I'm in a 1 versus 9, and the game's already started.
Move up, guys. Move up.
Well, okay, it's already a 1 versus 8, and I'm up at the 50-yard line. I apologize. The cameraman started after we had already started the game. I'm at the white stand-up, the right side of your screen.
You can get closer to him.
And my goal was to come out on the break and take
away.
as much field as possible so that the other team couldn't squash me and just kind of bonsai my ass and get on top of me.
That's close.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm right now holding them back at the 50 from one side of the field. The guy in the white, I see him there in that spindle, if you're wondering. I know he can't come around me because of the no bunkering rule on this field. At this field
You can go around him at that distance apart.
Now the referee's telling him, go around. He's trying to help this player, tell him to get around me. He can swing out, but he just can't bunker me. I've done this before. I'm going to be checking that right side, and I know he's going to try to get around me, and when he does, I'm just going to snap shoot him, and I actually hit him right up below the arm on the stomach.
He's out!
And now, as a courtesy, I'm waiting for the ref to check him. I asked him, is he walking? Now while that's happening, I'm not standing there waiting for anything. I'm still shooting.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at other players and checking out, the field and trying to establish who's coming from where still. At this point, you can't see it on film, but I've decided I'm going to pull back.
No, you're good.
I actually leave that center position from the 50, or actually that side position on the 50, and I pull back to my 20-yard line. You're going to see a blue spindle at the center of the field. That's where I've pulled back to. The reason I do this, and see, I'm gone. I'm out of that white stand-up. I've now gone all the way back. You can't see the blue. There you see me just kind of slide over there. So I've pulled back for a reason. There's actually two. One, I couldn't tell where all their players were. They were bunkered down and they weren't moving. By doing this, now they have to pull forward and I can see them come at me. In addition, this also allows me to take them on one at a time. It's easier to take on an entire team one at a time than it is to allow them to come down on your head at once. Now, you've heard me say, and many others say, every back man becomes a front man. Well, when you're playing 1-on-9, you're everything. And I'm really thinking about how much of this field I can use. At this point in the game, I've also determined I think I can take these guys. So I start having a little fun. Now, does this mean I'm living with a little hubris in my blood? No, I am not taking anything for granted, but I do believe I can play this game on my terms. This guy here moving up to the spindle, I've let him do that. I know he's going to move again, and I let him. I'm actually keeping an eye on the guy at the top of the screen while with my periphery watching this guy slide over. Once he hits this position, listen carefully, I get him quick. Right there. I just hit him below the chin on the chest. You'll see the green dot. So now I'm trained back on the guy at the top of the screen. I'm also watching downfield. I'm now a little more comfortable with what I've seen, and if I can get this guy out.
Come on, guys, move up. It's only one guy.
Referee's telling him, come on, he's only one guy. Once I get an.
Hey guys, you have to have your mask on up there.
You'll also see it. There's a collection of players at the top of the field outside that tape line. I'm going to keep an eye on that and make sure my head count straight. Okay. Now I've got the other aggressive player, and I now have taken out the aggressive players.
Game's still on.
Now I can be aggressive. I'm going to zip back upfield. I'm going to move from spindle to spindle to spindle, getting up to that 50 stand-up again that I enjoyed at the beginning of the game. The reason I'm doing this again is because
dead man can't talk.
You always want to have as much field behind you as possible. The more field you have behind you, the less field your team has to play with. Now, the other team does. But in this particular case, for me, I actually like the white stand-up because it allows me to hold them back. And if I don't hold them back, I can actually flip sides of the field. The other team doesn't know that's how I'm going to play it, but that's how it works for me in this particular field. So I'm watching these people. I know where they are now. I know exactly every position that's being occupied. I know when I can move. Listening, moving. Now this person in the center castle, that's a girl, and I I am now got a nice straight shot down at her, but I'm going to avoid her and try to work on the people in the back. I'm also going to flip side to side there because I don't want to let those players get across the 50 again. When they do, that's when I decide, screw it, I'm going to get behind the other team. Now, again, I can't emphasize this enough. You don't want to live in a paintball game like this with hubris. Look it up if you don't know the word. It essentially means, overconfidence can bring you down. The little people in the field, although they're cannon fodder, cannot be taken for granted. And look at that, she's getting away with one right there, standing out in the open like that. Oh well. All right, I'm keeping an eye on the left side. I've determined now they have got as far as I wanted them to get and taken a little more field than I wanted them to. So I'm going to tell the referee, because where he's at with the camera, I'm running straight through him in a moment. I'm letting him know essentially what my next move is.
Coming
All
straight
right, you
through
hear me
you.
say I'm coming straight through you in a minute. So he gets out of the way for a better camera angle on the players, and of course also so he doesn't get shot with a paintball. That player there in red, I'm actually going to get behind him and shoot him in the back of the leg, and that's going to get.
What's wrong? You can't take it off.
That's going to get on camera, but we're going to wait to show me moving. Now, again, see the girl still in the center castle. She sees me in the center castle, and I'm going to swing out. And for some reason, she's not going to catch me swinging out. She's going to be trained on me in that center castle even after I'm gone. So here I am. I'm trading paint with her a little bit, trying to button her ears back, and then I run. Now I've decided I want to get behind this entire other team and see who I can get shoot in the back. See this kid's going to notice me finally. He's going to run. I'm going to get him in the back of the leg. It's about to happen here now.
Back of the leg.
All right. Now, you'd think the girl would have heard me back there, but for some odd reason she didn't. Again. And she's going to give me a free shot on her, and I'm going to take it.
Mask down.
And you hear that? I'm
Keep your
yelling,
mask
and
on.
she still didn't hear me. I'm telling somebody to put their mask down, and they did not hear it, and she didn't hear me. This is one of those things you have to understand about paintball. People have a hard time hearing under masks. I've got one on. She's got one on. Anybody else? And here's me not doing something that you expect me to do, and that is gun up, gun up, gun up, gun up. When I'm shadow walking like that, I like to get narrow. If I'm moving upfield, I'm getting narrow. And this is probably a video in and of itself in terms of a help video, and that is when you're running, get sideways, get narrow. Don't present somebody with your full body at any point. All right, so now you notice right here that when I snapped out there real quick, I wanted to look up that lane. I snapped out for my shot first. There was nobody there. I essentially knew nobody was there, but I was still going to protect myself by snapping out and looking up that lane, that outside lane. Now I'm down to one player. This is anticlimactic, guys. It's a little kid. I go get him, game over. So I'm sorry that this video ends before I actually got an opportunity to show you that I got the last player. But this was a 1 versus 9, and I hope you appreciated a few of the things you saw here. It's not me showing off. It's one of those things where if I can help anybody pick up a few things about the game, hopefully you did. I'm not the God's gift to paintball guy, okay? I'm just one more guy out there sharing what I know. So hopefully you picked up a few things, and if you did, you'll pass them on to somebody yourself. Oh, look at this kid. What a knucklehead. In-game, pulling his mask off. All right, so anyway, like I said, this kid's toast pretty soon.
There's back in.
He did give me he was a pain in the ass, though. I mean, little kids are fearless. They don't know enough to be afraid, so they take risks they shouldn't. It's kind of like in a poker game where somebody plays a hand, like when you're playing against a noob, they have no idea that they should be folding, and they stay in a hand, and then they make the hand after they should have been out much sooner. And that's what happens with a lot of new players. They make moves that actually benefit them that you would have never expected them to do because they know no better. So this is, again, one of those things where I talk about hubris. You as an advanced player cannot take somebody who's
my hand's starting to hurt.
Not that good for granted, because they'll get the gift shot because you gave them one they didn't deserve. So there you have it. There's one last final tip as we go. Guys, please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do so. I have a ton of videos that are all organized by playlists. If you haven't subscribed, you're missing out because I put a lot of effort into my videos. This is one I just threw up as a showcase game. There's not a lot of production value.
You have to make a move,
but, again, subscribe, check them out. You won't be wasting your time. Take care, guys.
He pulled at you.
Hey guys, I have a Twitter account that's the same as my YouTube account, DangerMan XX. It's a big deal that you do this for me. Well, after you do, you'll find out the secret, and it's very much worthwhile. Now here's my badass call tag.
It's too much for any man.